viewers, this is Wasim. Welcome back to my channel Wagon Picks. Hope you are all doing great. We are into second tutorial of JavaScript series, and the topic of this tutorial is variables in JavaScript. Okay, so what are variables? The points which we'll be covering in this tutorial are what are variables, like what exactly do I mean by variables, and types of variables in JavaScript, that is second point. We have var, let and const types, and third is we'll just look at an example. We'll use variables and see how we can make use of these variables. Okay, so when I say variables, what do I mean by that? So variables are used to store the values. Okay, so you can imagine this as a jars in your kitchen. Like in jar, we have different kind of jars, uh, which is used to store specific things. Okay, for example, in a sugar jar, we only store sugar in that. In salt jar, we will store only salt in that. Okay, so whenever next time I come in, and I don't need to go and check every jar, so I know where the sugar is, I know where the salt is. So that is the storage system which we follow in our day-to-day life. So similarly, we need a similar storage system in our coding world. So why do we need the variable or a storage system? Actually, the thing is, when we write a code, what do we mean by programming or code is we are giving instructions to our computer. So what I mean by instructions is what exactly we want from computer to do. Okay, so for example, when I declare a variable, what I'm doing is I am defining a space. Okay, this variable is defined as var. Okay, and if I'm defining a variable as let, so I am defining that space or storage as let. So I'm telling computer that this space is allocated to this specific variable. So here we have, this is the uh, example which we can take through. So when I write in my computer let variable, so what I'm telling my computer is I want a storage for to store something, and name of the storage is variable 1. Similarly, when I type let variable 2, what this means is I want some storage into my storage system to store some values. So remember that we are not storing any values, we are just reserving a space. So when I come down and when I write something and assign some value to this variable, so that means I am storing 10 in this variable. So this is how the storage system works. Okay, and you might be having this question, like we have seen there are three different types of variables, var, let and const. What is the difference between these variables? So for time being I just want you to not to take into the deep, because there are many other topics involved in this, like scope of these variable, reassignment. So I don't want to take you through all those topics and make you confused. So for time being, assume that var, let and const, these are used to define a space. Okay, so when I write let variable 1, so I'm defining a space in my computer, and that will be used for storage purpose. Okay, this is all about the storage variables. Okay, so let me quickly go and open a Visual Studio Code editor. So we are into JS. I have this JS folder with me. So here we are. Let us go ahead and create a file over here, that is index.html. Okay, and let us define the first document type, doc type HTML. Okay, and next is we need to define the head. So we have seen this in earlier tutorial that mm, what all things these are. In this we will define the title. Let us name it as variables. Okay, and next is body. Let us type some dummy content. I just want to check this is working fine. Okay, here we have, I created this. So here we have got that dummy content which we wrote in the code, and this is good to go ahead with. And in this I will define my JavaScript division. So in this JavaScript division, let us take a variable type let variable1. Okay, so as we saw earlier, by this line we are instructing our computer to define a space, and the name of that space is variable. So remember that the name of the space and the value inside the space are two different things. We have not defined the value for this space yet. And let us take second variable 2. Okay, so we have defined the two spaces, variable 1 and variable 2. Okay, and now what we are doing is we are storing a value in this variable. Let us store 10 in this, and in variable 2 let us store 20. Okay, and let us display the addition of these two. Okay, alert, I will add this. Okay, so when the page gets load, this line defines a space and this line defines another space, and in that space I am storing a value 10, and the second space I am storing value 20. And after that, this line, what this line does is it pops up a message which displays addition of variable 1 and variable 2. Okay, let us quickly go and check. When I refresh the page is loading. Okay, the addition of 10 and 20 is 30. Okay, this is how it works. Okay, so similarly, if I want to store value in var, remember that var is the old defining techniques of variables. We no longer use var. I have included this into this tutorial because var was used earlier. You might come across var variable in older codes, which are pretty much old. In If you're writing a new code, do not use var because var is outdated, and we only use let and const. Okay, so similarly you can use var also. Value 1. Okay, and I'm storing value 50 in this. Value 2, and I'm storing 100 in this. Okay, and after this I will alert. Okay, so what I did here was, after displaying this alert pop-up model, then after closing that, I have defined two other space or variables with the name var, and I have stored 50 and 100 in that, and again I have displayed that into my alert pop-up model. Okay, so let me check how this works. Okay, here we have, this is the first pop-up model. When I close this, now I am into the second model. So this is the second pop-up model which we got 150. Okay, similarly, if you have we have third variable, that is const. Let us name this as um, test, and I'm storing 100 in this. So remember to put semicolon in front of expressions. It is good practice. The code got compiled without the semicolon, but it is good practice to add semicolon at the end of your expression. Test 1. I have stored 200 in this. So I defined the const and named the variable as test, and I have stored 100 in that. So the difference is, like here what we did was we declared the variable first and then we stored a value in that. In later cases we are declaring the variable, also we are defining the storing some value in that. So we are doing all both the steps simultaneously in a single line of code. Okay, and alert, I will just add this. Let us multiply this now. Okay, so what happens is, when the document gets loaded, the page gets loaded, we are defining first two variables, variable 1 and variable 2, and in those variables we are showing 10 and 20. First pop-up model displays the addition of 10 plus 20, that is 30, and then we are defining a variable value 1 and value 2, and in value 1 I am storing 50 and in value 2 I am storing 100, and in second pop-up model I am adding these two values. The addition I will be getting is 150, and this step I am defining the same space with the different name, test and test 1, and in alert model I am multiplying both the values. Okay, so no need to worry about the expression. We will be going through a different tutorial for the expressions. So in this tutorial we will only learn about the variables. Okay, so here we are, let me refresh this. So this is the first model, and I got this 150, addition of 150 plus 100, and when I click on 50, this is the multiplication of 100 and 200. Sorry, we forgot to. So here what we saw was, it took this 100 value in this, and this was 200 static value which we took. Okay, so we can add our variable in this like this. 30 and 50 and 20,000. Okay, so there was no difference in the storage, but there is difference between let and const. We'll go through that in our later tutorials. Hope you got all the points. Let me know if you have any questions into the comment box. I will definitely come up with the answers for your questions. Thank you.